but I feel for what is considered to be the biggest event of the year, you should be proud of a bronze medal. You should have the chance to fight for a bronze medal. I think it's silly where it's just like, well, you lost in the semi, so third, fourth, whatever. It's like, no. Give them one more match, and it also, of course, allows the other guy that won the second semi-final to take some time off and give it some thought before their grand final. So overall, I'm excited. What a day it is going to be, Wadi, and what a series this is going to be. Solar looked insane against Hero, and of course, Hero looked like Hero, a little bit crazy, especially in that first game. I don't think Classic looked at that build and says, you know what, that's pretty cool, I should give it a shot as well. Even though I wonder, with a quicker battery, perhaps that would have worked. Either way, let's get this party started. A best of 7 between our Protoss and our Zerg.
In the bottom right-hand corner, we're going to start things off with our red Zerg player. He is, of course, representing Falcons. This is Solar.
Solar energy is big. In the top right side of Torches, I'm already a little bit surprised. We'll talk about that soon. We are looking at the main base of our Korean Protoss representing Virtuous Pro. It's Classic. Torch is a very spicy map, obviously, to kick off this best of 7. Solar is going to take the gold in the center of the map, but he's going to take it on the quote-unquote wrong side because he's expanding towards Classic. But Classic, is he anticipating this play from Solar? Because he went pylon gateway on the high ground, Wadi. Who the hell goes pylon? And he's building a fort! Oh my god, let's do it!
Okay, what a start to this series. The Forge comes down in Classic. He is going to notice what is up, and he's going to be able to put so much pressure onto this hatchery. It is on, like you say, the wrong side. That's easier for Classic to access in some ways further down the line. In some ways, it's easier for Solar to defend if this got to a point of mining, as that's a heck of a pylon as well. So this base is in trouble right from the very get-go. Cannon's going to be coming up soon, and the Zealot is already out as well.
Solar is sending a bunch of additional drones towards that gold. Obviously, you want to start saturating that mineral line normally as quickly as possible. But in this case, it is also going to help. Will that Pro be able to get one more building? That's a close call. Can we warp it in? Yes, we can. That is an incredibly well protected cannon with very little surface area. It is, however, just a single cannon. How much can a single cannon get done?
A very good question here. The drones get a few mines up with the gold, and then they start to head away elsewhere because they could mine to the top side and mine out the gold minerals on Classic side and open that passageway. Classic going to double down and cannon on the other mineral line as well. Ling's coming up, Ling speed starting. What can we do as a Zealot enters the main base and nothing here to play defense?
Nope, there is nothing. How good is that drone micro? Great job there by Classic, immediately putting that Zealot between the mineral patch and that gas to make sure there is very little surface area for the drones and the Zerglings to do their thing. No Queen on the production tab here, by the way. That's actually going to be very annoying. I do think, by the way, that Classic quickly needs to either wall this off or get a cannon on top of his ramp, because I have the feeling that Solar is going to ignore this and he's just going to try to get into the main base of Classic. And right now, Classic has nothing there, Wadi. This could get close because that's a lot of Zerglings. I'm sure Classic is going to try to re-wall. Adept 50% done. I guess it is going to work out for Classic, but this is still going to be a bit scary.
It is. The Adept will pop out. It will start to deal some damage. Those Lings will then get pushed away, in theory, as the cannons take down this hatchery. This is a massive investment, but Solar has so little follow-up.
Okay.
Still in trouble.
We need to wall off again, and we so far have successfully done it. If I was Classic, by the way, I really wouldn't hate a single cannon on top of this ramp. You know, I guess this is a big investment. I kind of wish he would have cancelled the third cannon, by the way, below those pylons. Like the first one, I understand that he wanted a little bit of support in case a Queen would come out, and then a bunch of drones and Zerglings. So it was very cool how he rotated that drone around, showed up at the bottom side of that mineral line, got a backup cannon. The third one, though, massive overkill. It really didn't add anything.
Yeah, absolutely unnecessary. I'm with you. I don't think those Lings were ever going to try and make the bust to save that base because you already invested so much there. As a Zerg, it's better just to let that go down most of the time. And that's exactly what Solo went for as well. So I'm with you. Maybe that cannon didn't need to come through. Now we're in this weird state where the game kind of normalizes a little bit. But of course, Classic has to wait a while before he can expand. So Solo gets his own expansion down. And at the end of the day, who do we love it for?
Normalizes is a funny term when we have a bunch of cannons randomly in the center of the map. Classic is still on the high ground. It's got a bunch of adepts sitting here, one base setup, a temporary third gateway on the way, and a Stargate, all of one base. Like if Classic had a second base, or at least the opportunity to quickly... Oh my, okay. way. I love that. That is so smart. Because I was wondering, I was like, man, it's going to be a bit annoying for Classic to expand, actually. Solar is going to check it. He's going to see it now. He turns around immediately, but that's going to be hard to break. That is such a clever base for Classic to take here. I love it.
It just has a static defense on it already. I mean, crazy play, but it's a lovely play. And now he will have some adepts that can move from there and harass. He's going to throw the fleet beacon down as well, as we are just going full chaos here on torches. Oracle coming through, wants some drones, gets a couple. Into the main base it goes. Spore Crawler is around, and the Oracle doesn't want to take too many more shots. Already low on the HP bars. Does get out, as of course you want to keep that alive as throughout this game. It helps a lot. But that fleet beacon, Roddy, is ticking on up.
It is the second time that Solar, in game 1 of a series, is facing a 5-minute fleet beacon. Maybe the one of Hero was even a tiny bit quicker because that one didn't really start off with a bunch of cannons. But even this one is very early. But I think it's a mega clever play coming out of Classic. To deal with Tempest, you need a good economy. Ideally, you get Corruptors. Really afford Corruptors immediately. So what people often do is buy some time with Queens and stuff, but Solar just has very little to work with. Does see the recall go down. It's very important for Solar that he gets this scout, and he will see the fleet beacon. But yeah, we don't even have a lair yet, so he's going to fire that lair up immediately. This is going to be annoying. I guess the only nice thing for Solar is that Tempest are not exactly known for their speed. They're not the quickest units in the game, so a Tempest being built in the main base of Protoss, it's going to take a little while before it reaches the bottom of the map and it can actually start attacking those drones or queens.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want some time here, right? Extra queens, make sure your spores are set up, make sure you're ready to deal with this as Solar. And then, of course, we'll see how he wants to deal with this once the lair comes in. Typically, just get that Spire up and get an answer to those Tempests, because you just can't have them poking away forever, because that's when you get into trouble like we saw yesterday.
Solar needs to make sure that he doesn't put his Spire in a silly spot, by the way, because if there is a world where he loses his Spire, he loses the game. I'd love to see it in the bottom left side of the natural, basically where the observers are looking at right now. I would love that Solar is spreading a lot of creep towards this gold, because now the Queens have just a little more wiggle room to put some initial pressure on the Tempest. And what Solar wants is not to kill a Tempest, because that's really not supposed to happen with Queens, but what he wants to make sure is that he either forces the Tempest to defend this gold, so it's not attacking his drones, or just to make sure that Classic is wasting a lot of time. Classic is not really taking the bait. We do indeed see that Spire go down in the bottom left side. I like that call.
Yeah, just keep it nice and safe away from where you're expecting damage to be. A couple of Ravagers trying to get some work done, hit some probes here. Cross of File is good, and the Queens get some good damage as well. That other Tempest still nearby can definitely get some shots on that, as we kind of play this game of just, you want to hurt the Tempest want to pull back at the same time. The Queens don't want to take too many Tempest shots. We'll lose a Ravager there, but the transfusion is good, and that will keep said Ravager alive. As a few Lings poke the other side, that's still a funky position for Classic to be playing from. Extra gates coming down, of course, we're now not that far from the Spire being up and running for Solar to get those crosses on route.
What a beautiful wall, by the way, for Classic on top of the ramp, entering his main base. This creep makes it so scary, by the way, for these Tempests to go deep. Solar has done a really good job in just making it a bit uncomfortable for Classic, giving Classic a lot of things to worry about. His probes, his cannons, his Tempest, his wall at the top of the ramp. Classic knows that Solar is just doing this to buy a whole bunch of time. This is where at least a few of these Queens should go down. The first one has gone down, the second one will fall. Classic spots another low HP one. That one has not quite done yet. Actually, he did get it in the end, so that's -3 Queens. Very quick, but 7 Corruptors on the way. You know, it'd actually be, I want to say, kind of a cool place, maybe Void Rays here as support. But we look at the work account, Wardy. 50 drones against 33 probes. And yes, there is a gold, but that really doesn't make up for that massive work deficit. I'm a tiny bit worried for Classic. He doesn't have a Twilight Council yet, but he is getting +1 for the ground unit.
He needs to get out of here like now, because these Corruptors are going to be able to dive the Tempest very shortly. And those Tempests are not going to have a good time. We're going to hide them back. We're going to pull them in now, and this is where Classic has to respond. He's going to drop the recall, but we will target one down. One of them there did not get recalled. It's going to try and run home. The Corruptors will play the chasing game. As Roach Speed finishes, we got 9 drones in the end here. That helps with the work count, but of course it's not going to fully solve the issue as the Stalker on these.
Yeah, I guess that's going to be the main play here for Classic. Just a lot of Stalkers. He does not have Blink, but what he does have is +1 finishing up in the near future. We've got a Sentry in the mix, and Solar lost a lot of his basic units, so he made a big investment in getting out all these Corruptors. He was forced, of course, to build those Corruptors, but right now the real threat is not in the skies, but it's on the ground.
Yes, it is. The drones are going to pull a few Lings, a handful of Roaches. It's really not a lot for Solar. Can he get enough out to deal with this? It is unupgraded gateway units so you don't have the efficiency of the blink. The drones are doing a great job tanking him for now. It is looking as though we are getting this pushback. Classic is having to step away and Solar is defending.
Creep making all the difference here. These Zerg units are so much better on creep than they are off creep. It just allows them to get in range, get on top of these basic gateway units, and Classic, of course, not having the luxury to blink those units back. It allowed Solar to take a pretty decent fight. The only downside for Solar, they are losing all the Corruptors. I still think most of the threat is obviously on the ground, not in the sky, but it is kind of annoying that we don't really have an answer anymore for these Tempest. But look at these Zerglings go. Classic is probably thinking, man, if I want to make something of this game, I'm going to need to get a Twilight Council. I think you should drop it immediately, Wadi. I don't believe you can win this game anymore without Blink.
He has no longevity in this game without a Twilight Council, and there it is coming down right now. Blink is going to be the efficiency in the way that you can trade from here on out to the rest of the game. If you can get Blink finished, there's a good chance we don't get to that point. A few Corruptors have been made, the Tempest are not going to be a constant damage output now, and there's still an opportunity for Solar to break through onto this gold base perhaps. So that's going to be Classic's woe for the next few minutes here as that Twilight Council finishes, Blink starts, and gets Chrono boosted the heck out.
No shield battery there, right? Because that Tempest was flying. I was wondering if it was going to get healed up, but it's just cannon. Yeah, there's one battery. It's so far back, so it helps you on the north side, but not very much on the south side. I'm very worried for Classic, his position. It's just, it doesn't look very hot. He has not done a great job in producing probes. Maybe he felt that it wasn't really a good use for them, or he was going to run out of mineral patches. Perhaps in his mind, this game was just going to be over the moment he would attack with 10 Stalkers, a Sentry, a couple of Adepts as the doors are open. Solar didn't quite go for it. That would have been a great play, by the way. Now he sees this, but he knows that the Stalkers are nearby. When this is actually a good old when behind go Dark Shrine. You know, there's a lot of Dark Shrines these days that you just get for a bit of map control, a little bit of harass, some vision. Sometimes it can help you to push something back. This truly is a I am behind and I need a miraculous comeback. Why not try to get it done with the invisible guy?
Yeah, I mean, Classic is realizing the trouble that he's in. These probes are very near to having to give up on this gold base. That Nexus here has not been finished. It got cancelled once already. And we are just in a world of trouble. These pylons are going down, and Solar's army's looking great. 92 to 44 army supply. The gateway units are nowhere near what they're meant to be when facing this amount of Roach Ravager because that blink does not exist still. Feelings are going to check if that opening's there, but Classic has filled it for now. I don't think we're far off. Solar having a great time outside of maybe those DTs.
I'd love to take a little look at the third base of Solar. Does Solar have a Sport Wallet there? No, I don't think so. That wouldn't really make a lot of sense. He wasn't worried. I think he lost most of the spores as well that he had in the front. Right now, DTs could help out defensively as well, but Classic needs them right here, right now. Wadi is down 50 supply. Blink is only halfway done. We do have a couple of additional batteries. We need the DTs. The DTs are here. Can they make the difference?
Let's find out. The corrosive bars have been big so far. You see a lot of the Stalkers in trouble, but the DTs will just go swinging on through the Ravagers. Don't get me wrong, there's not going to be a lot of pros left on the other side. The DTs will just not get rid of enough. So the Corruptors caustic spraying down the Nexus. The Overseer on the way, and Classic will never have enough to truly hold the rest of the Roach Ravager once detection is in play. He's without that Nexus any longer as well, and this game is all but done. As soon as this Overseer shows up, I wouldn't be surprised if we see GG and Solar taking a Game 1 victory in the semi-final.
And what I absolutely love is that yesterday after his win, Solar said, like, yeah, CVP is a very difficult matchup, but I've just given it a lot of thought. I've practiced it a crazy amount, and I want to get it done in the Solar way. I look at Cero, but I don't want it to be like that. And I look at Reina, but I can't really be like that. So I just want to get it done, and I believe I can get it done in the Solar way. But I kind of felt that Classic gave him an open opportunity here to be Solar, because this was a bizarre game, a very fun one to kick off this semi-finals. Torch is, of course, a unique map. Solar thinking he was going to get the gold. Classic in the end getting the gold. I am above all very surprised about it. I mean, there's a lot of things to be very surprised of, but that Classic, his work account was just so low throughout the entire game. Like, yeah, he lost a few to those Ravagers and the corrosive balls, and the Zerglings were a little bit annoying, but he absolutely could have had a few more probes. But I feel like he was just very set on, I'm going to make a couple Tempest, they're absolutely going to deal damage, they're going to force out some Spores, I'm going to kill a bunch of Queens, I'm going to force out a Spire, and by the time that he's got an answer for my Tempest, my Stalkers are going to win it. That clearly was the game plan.
Yeah, and I think it was not a bad plan, just the Tempest took so long to do anything. They traded with the Queens so long initially without getting kills, and then we finally chased the Queens back. We got a couple kills, and we finally got a few drones as well, but just took a bit too long, clearly because by the time the bigger army came up, Solar was ready to play. And here he is now up 1 in this best of 7. In the bottom left, from Falcons, it is Solar.
In the top left side of Persephone, we are looking at the main base of our Korean Protoss. He is down 0-1, but that was a very weird and unique game. Let's see if this one is going to be a bit more standard. To give it up for Classic. I did love it. From the beginning to the end, when we saw the high ground pylon, the high ground gate, we see Solar sending out a drone, taking the gold. It's like, oh, I love it. This is going to be a wild one, and it absolutely wasn't. There are definitely worlds where I see Classic win that, either with just some variations. Maybe I think above all, a Cricket Twilight Council would have been awesome, but it's obviously easy to say in hindsight. Classic was never thinking about getting blinked. Classic was just thinking about, okay, I know that I'm going to force out a lot of Corruptors, and maybe after he makes all those Corruptors of a bad economy, he's going to drone up a little bit. And that's when I'll surprise him with a whole bunch of Stalkers. But Solar did a 10 out of 10 job. Being active with those Zerglings, getting a little sneak peek up the ramp. It's like, hey, what's happening? Oh, Forge is researching +1. All right, I see a bunch of gateways. Takes a look at the gold, sees a couple of units being warped in, and I felt that truly kept Solar on his toes, but also kept him very ready for not just a SkyToss unit.
Great information gathering and just being able to prep himself fully, because it wasn't an overcommitment, like especially when you see like 4 Tempests, 5 Tempests on the way, it's like, oh god, you know, maybe I want more than 8 Corruptors, but he really didn't make all that many initially, just the 8, and that allowed him to have some amount of units on the ground to start pushing that back and to have the kind of the bank account to still build into more when he needed it as well. So great job, great identification, and let's hope he can keep that scouting up throughout this series, because we know Classic can be very pesky with those builds as well. He is definitely one to mix it up a little bit. Has not been necessarily in the build-up to this event, but in the bigger matches, he will do so.
A couple of Zerglings on the way already, a decent amount. I wonder if Solar has a plan where he's going to try to sneak a few links to the other side of the map the moment that first Adept leaves, just to disrupt the build order of Classic a bit. Like, we haven't really been able to talk about what we actually expect in this best of 7, because it was thrown to us, we were hyping up the guys, and it got crazy and wild immediately in game 1. But historically, Solar does his best work of lair tech. Like, he's an incredibly good late game player as well. He is very comfortable with maxed out Zerg armies, but he loves his Hydras, Lings, Roaches, Ravages, and Banelings. He is less of a spellcaster enjoyer. Classic, of course, is known for his defensive playstyle, is incredibly good in controlling the late game Protoss army with those Archons, Tempest, the Mothership. So I do feel that it's going to be a perfect clash of styles, where I feel throughout the series, Solar is going to be that battering ram, just trying to get Classic out of the games, and Classic is going to warp in a lot of cannons, a lot of batteries, infinite amount of High Templars with storms until the grand finals. And then the big question is, can Solar find that damage in the mid-game that he will be looking for? Because I have a hard time believing we'll see a single game coming out of Solar where he just sits back, rushes up to 95 drones, takes the entire map, and never attacks. Like, no, Solar loves to attack, Solar loves to trade, and battle, set up surrounds, and kill probes.
Yeah, he is not afraid to pull the queens. He is just happy to get across the map and do damage 9 times out of 10. I'm with you. If we end up in a late game, is because Solar threw something at Classic. Classic barely held on in the game. Resets a little bit from there, but this should be a pretty murderous kind of mid-game kind of series, which is frustrating for Classic, because he would love nothing more than to play that latest style. First, you've got to earn it getting there, and that's a cancel on the third Nexus for the moment.
It always scares me when they wait so long. Game 2, semi-finals of the biggest event of the year. It's like, I get it, you want to get a few more links, but if we lose that, I'm not going to say it's game over, but losing 400 minerals in minute 4 makes it incredibly tough for your follow-ups to be anywhere near as good.
It really, really does. That Twilight Council is on the way, so we'll have that coming up. No Forge or anything along with it. Now, there we go. So this is looking fairly normal from Classic, likely blink into +1. And the Queens do push these Oracles back, but only after 5 drones, and that to me is one of the weaknesses Solar has. It does feel like he's often open to a lot of these Oracle harassments.
Yeah, Solar is not as clean in his early game defense as a couple of the other elite Zergs out there. Curious about this probe, by the way. Is there a world where Classic will actually get a pylon and gateway on the other side of the map just to follow this up with some pressure? Solar will often lose a couple drones, and he will just immediately rebuild more drones once he's happy with his drone count. From there on out, it is units, and he very rarely ever looks back. But 5 is too many. Honestly, 5 is too many. There are a couple Zergs out there that say the moment you lose 5 drones before minute 5, you should just leave. Well, that's something you can do on the ladder, of course, when there is nobody watching and there is nothing on the line. That's not something you'll ever do in the semifinals of a World Championship. But Solar is going to have to step it up throughout the series, because if we're not killing Oracles, but we're losing 5 drones against the first flyby, we're not going to win these semifinals. Not in multiple games. Once or twice you get away with it. Every single game, you'll not get away with it.
Yeah, you can't play with that deficit every time. There is a pylon going down, so we will have some aggression maybe coming in from that bottom right-hand side. The extra gateways are building up as well, so Classic is getting those numbers ready. Meanwhile, Solar's getting the Dropper Lord built right at the front, in front of the units of Classic, and yeah, is that just a fake? I mean, he's building a second one further back too, and he is just droning.
I'm a bit confused. Solar is going all the way up to like 70-something workers after losing a couple of drones early, making a few links as well. He is clearly not expecting Classic to be aggressive. And I do love this from Classic, because we are talking about how strong he is defensively and how scary his late game is. And I'm sure that Solar is thinking of that as well. And it's like, all right, before I start attacking, let's make sure that I'm very rich. As a couple of the queens do hop out of that Dropper Lord. But Solar's kind of faking this, right? He's like, Classic, I'm going to attack you, Roach Ravager Ling. Here I am. I'm on the way already, but he's absolutely not on the way. Solar is still droning. He's going up over 80. If Classic actually commits to the attack that he was planning, Classic will be cooking. But at this point, Classic is probably thinking like, hey, in case he does have 40 Zerglings and 20 Roaches, I really shouldn't move out. But he should probably just go for it. That cannon is not quite done yet, so he should be able to warp in a couple of units. I love the mind games here. I love the fake of Solar, but I'm afraid for Solar that is not working, because those Stalkers did go to the center of the map. They gone down that Dropper Lord. They're going to pick off each and every single queen here as well. Now Solar is immediately hammering out as many Roaches as possible, but this is going to be tough, especially with a 5th hatchery on the way, Wardy.
He's doing nothing but setting up for the later stage. I mean, he does have +1 missiles and Roach speed nearly done. Is that going to be enough to help? A little link counterattack is forcing some reinforcements. Is that enough to distract Classic? I really do not think so. Classic is going to have so much available here. That Oracle getting low, but he instantly blinks forward. He recognizes that there's not that much right now. A few drones pull in, but that's just not going to do it. These Stalkers are so much better than last game because they have that blink upgrade. They will get so much value here with stasis wards to fall back to, a reinforcing pylon nearby. Classic looking good.
Classic is playing this with so much confidence, and can we really blame him? He got a couple workers in the early game. He knows that Solar faked aggression, so he's probably very high up on the drone count. He even sniped a hatchery in the middle of the map, and that's why Classic is confident. He knows all those little victories are adding up, and he's not just going to kill the 5th base, but he should be able to kill the 4th base here as well. That hatchery is very low. With a few more shots we can get it, and if you're Classic, you can honestly just go back. Right here, you don't have to continue attacking. It's 3 base against 3 base. That's always perfect for a Protoss. Let's not do anything silly with all these Stalkers.
Yeah, especially because it's been a little bit kind of nasty. Some of the Biles have taken Stalkers out throughout this. He's maybe had a couple more losses than expected. It's still a lot of Stalkers, man. He warped in extras here. He's looking as though he might want to come back up this ramp, but this is difficult. Going back up there, not going to be easy. Your Stalkers can't all fight at once as he tries to come through.
Yeah, if Classic doesn't really want to do it, he's going to have to close his eyes and go for that forward blink, but that is so freaking risky and it's really not needed. I think dancing around here forever, the bottom side is a bit tough. I feel like if there was no Sport Crawler, he would have done it, by the way, because then the Oracles can show up as well, activate Pulsar Beam, but does not want to lose these Oracles, just in case Solar would make a large swell of Zerglings. Bit of a funny fight here near that acceleration zone, up a ramp as well. Like, all right, we're gonna get +2. We're going up to 4 bases. So Classic is thinking of the next phase of this game. Solar as well. So Solar is just going to try to once more get this 4th base in the bottom right side up and running. And we've got Hive Tech on the way.
Hive Tech on the way, Hydrogen already done, so potentially looking to just move straight into Lurkers here, which if you can get there, then brilliant. Oracle's finding a chance to help out as a few more Biles coming down.
I do love that, finding that tiny corner in the right side, away from that Sport Crawler, activating Pulsar Beam, gunning down a Ravager or 2. Solar is sizing up the army. He's like, man, you're so heavy on the Stalkers. If there is a world where I can get just a few Lurkers out with Seismic Spines, Adaptive Talents, I am no longer afraid. As the unit's lost resource step has shown us that this has been a marvelous game for Classic. Has done a really good job. Sure, he's lost a couple Stalkers here and there, but Wardy, 4,000 against 8,000. That's pretty extreme in a 10-minute game.
Especially in a game where you had a 5th base cancelled up, the 4th base killed. It's not like Solar has been mining comfortably this entire time. Ling's getting introduced to try and help force these Stalkers back, but Storm is now done. +2 is about to finish. The tech is really here to help Classic out. The big question just being, can he really deal with the lurkers of Solar right now? He might need to add a little bit more to his army to really be okay against those. Let's watch from Classic's point of view as he pulls back against this and still looks to try and find even more damage.
Yeah, Solar does finally unpower that gate, which makes it a little bit harder for Classic to reinforce that army in the bottom right side. But I think that army has been very, very successful, and I think that Classic got everything done that he was looking for, and now he can just enjoy the 4 base prod of life. We saw all those High Templars, and we can use energy, recharge a few times, continue to upgrade these units. It's looking fantastic for Classic. Just needs to make sure he's ready for lurkers. Like, there is a world where it still goes wrong if he is on 40 Stalkers and a couple of Storms. If Solar shows up with 10 lurkers and we don't have a proper answer for lurkers, we don't have any Archons, we don't have any Immortals, it could still get a little scary.
Absolutely, right? It's kind of the one way which I really see Classic having a big weakness right now. If Solar gets in position especially, right, if you can just get those lurkers in a spot where they're dangerous, where you kind of have to fight them as Classic or give up a base, that's why it can be really scary. Right now, these lurkers will try and set up defensively, try and protect this base, as Solar will come storming through. Has a lot of Hydras in this army as well, but remember, there's a lot of Storms available. It's just the High Templar haven't caught up yet.
It's incredibly important for Classic that he stays a little bit active with his army now. Not because he necessarily wants to find the game-ending fight, but just push back the creep and make it difficult for Solar to move across the map. The longer this game goes on, the better it will be for Classic, as Classic has been rich. He's got a 3rd Stargate, I believe, even on the way. The Fleet Beacon is done. We're going to need a couple Tempest eventually, as Tempest are a very reliable answer dealing with those lurkers. This is where Classic needs to be, and anytime Solar wants to come forward, that's where you storm him. There's really no need for Classic to run into those lurkers. Absolutely not necessary, but he does need to stay busy.
Bigger corrosive bars trying to keep this army at bay. Nidus Network coming up, extra lurkers coming through. These roaches dancing with a few stalkers, but the stalkers win that fight. Is Classic just able to stand on Solar's side of the map? Is so threatening, and it makes it so difficult for Solar to get into those abusive positions we're talking about. Storms here will be great if we come up this ramp, and Solar just going to eat them as he tries to fight forward. He is getting rid of a few of the High Templar. They are dying off, so if nothing else, that's a big win for Solar. Lurkers on the left side do not get close enough overall, but he does push this back and buy himself some breathing room.
Imagine if those lurkers would have moved a little bit further forward. That could have been a disaster for Classic. Nice job there by Solar, because Solar knows that he can't play this game forever. The longer it goes on, the more likely it is that Classic is going to have a perfect answer for those lurkers. Probe's not necessarily good enough. Tempest and Stalkers and a Zealot is good enough to shut down the first Nidus attempt. The beautiful thing about Nidus though is that it's not always about can the Nidus come online or not. It's about keeping your opponent busy. And while your opponent is busy, they might mess up a little bit with that Stalker micro in the center of the map or leave those High Templars unattended. So far, Classic is doing a masterful job in making sure any of those crucial errors are not happening. And the only thing I'm missing though are these arrow grids, Waddy. If we're making this many Tempests, where the hell is +1 air weapons? We should have been at +2 by now.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Get some of those upgrades, get those Tempests helped out. Do you lose a hatchery in the bottom right-hand side, unfortunately. The Prism will go down, but the hatch going down is an even better trade. It's just Hot Classic eating a couple of lurker shots, but overall has been doing very well against this. And again, with the hatchery going down bottom right, like Solar's never been comfortable in this game. He's constantly been pressured, he's constantly been under the fear of Classic's army being so close to him. And yes, he's kind of near being maxed out, but even getting maxed out, he doesn't have a good bank behind it. It's a rough scenario.
I am impressed though by Classic in this game, not just by the build or the choice and the execution, but especially the last 2 minutes. Knowing that this has been a pretty sweet game, but it could have gone wrong. If he just goes AFK there thinking like, I've got time, I'm just going to slowly transition, and Solar runs across the map, gets those lurkers in a spot where the High Templars were not quite ready to receive them. If Classic was forced to attack into Solar, it would have been bad. It's so easy for us to sit there and see everything and be like, Classic, you need to be active in the middle of the map, keep this army at bay, drop a couple storms and make sure you don't overcommit. But he did all of it. The man made perfect choice after perfect choice, and I think he's getting closer and closer to tying this series up.
Yeah, these Zealots are becoming a big problem, right? Just showing up, getting some tech, getting rid of some drones. Now going to lose a base on this left-hand side as well, so again, Classic just winning all around the map. It's another Prism that goes down, but outside of that, we really are just doing great. Zealots again, Hydra kills on the picture-in-picture. Solar has a counter-attack, and that's the one thing Classic has to deal with, but if he wants to, he can just pull on back, and he's actually already recalled, so guess what? That's going to be a defense over here. He's done just as much damage as what Solar has done, and more.
Yeah.
So Classic is feeling very, very good, chasing down a ton of these expensive units on the tail end of this attack.
Solar is going to try once more to get his hands on that gold base on the right side of the map, but the moment that Classic picks up on it, there's really not a whole lot that Solar can do to keep this base alive. And that's perhaps the one oversight. Classic has been very focused on the center and on the left side. kind of forgetting about it. The moment he picks up on it, though, we can just click a few zealots towards that gold. And I think Classic has done enough, Body. We are very, very close to looking at a tied-up series. This was Zombie Grove earlier, as he said, that was fun, but I hope your series is closer. I was like, yeah, well, the games were pretty good, right? Classic, excuse me, Sarah and Cure had very fun games. They were difficult to call, but of course, as StarCraft fans, you're always hoping for a bit of back and forth in the scoreline as well. And it does seem that that is what we are looking at over here. As Classic now picked up on the fact that there is a gold on the right side and we can just warp in Zealots. They've got pretty fancy upgrades, +3 attack, +1 shields. We've got the Rico in the main base as well, and I really don't know what Solar is gonna do against this.
No, because he's got to run up this ramp, which is just going to get time warped as well, just to double down. And Classic, he's been enjoying killing Zerg main bases this tournament. He's going to get this one here. We are going to try and come up here with Soul, who basically has no choice. It's not like he has the freedom to play elsewhere on the map overall. Storms have been beautiful. They are going to go off on the Corruptors, the Hydras, the Lurkers are not really in range. Classic just keeps pulling back, and Solar will exit this game with the GG, giving Classic game 2. And we are tied up in the semi-finals of EWC this year.
Love it. Very strong game coming out of Classic. And I also love that he's playing against his image a little bit, right? All this talk about him being the second coming of Stats, the next Shield of Fire, the defensive Protoss, the Turtle Protoss. He's like, well, what if I just make 2 Oracles and I make a whole bunch of Blink Stalkers and I sneak a probe to the bottom right side of the map and I get a pilot and a gateway up there. And I'm actually going to be the one that's aggressive. What I also love is that Solar was also playing against his image, where we talk about Solar's early mid-game aggression, often low drone counts. He makes it look like it. He's like, hey, a Dropper Lord here. Queens are hopping in the Dropper Lord, which means I make 20 roaches of a low eco. I've got another Dropper Lord with a couple Zerglings. And what he was actually trying to do is set himself up for a much stronger mid-game with 75 or 80 drones, and then hit a bit later, but way harder, with almost infinite amount of reinforcements. So they both tried to pull a short one on the other. In the end, it just worked out a lot better for Classic, because Classic was decisive and picked up very quickly on what Solar was trying to sell him, which obviously wasn't really what was happening.
Yeah, no, it was a really good job of just not overreacting. Like, he never threw down like loads of batteries or anything. He didn't do what Solar wanted, and if he did that, that would have taken the wind out of the sails of his attack. And Solar, in one of the rare occurrences that he doesn't actually just kind of hit in the mid-game.
So it's like, come on then, like if I would have done this, you would have been so dead. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it really is one of those funny moments where just like Solar actually did just draw it up. He goes against his image a little bit, and he uses his image to try and fake it out, and it just doesn't, Classic doesn't bite at all. And a little frustration for Solar for sure as we enter.
So this time we do it for real. 51 drones, we're going German taxi. Queens, Roaches, Ravages warning.
Queens, Roaches, and Ravagers. Let's see as we start off on Incorporeal with the red Zerg player representing Falcons. In the bottom right, it is Solar.
A 3-0 victory in the quarterfinals for that man over Hero. On the top left side, a man who also got a 3-0 victory in the quarterfinals over the previous EWC champion. That was Clem. Can it be this man this year? It is Virtuous Pro Classic. I love the thunder sticks. I had thunder sticks earlier.
You had thunder sticks earlier. We saw you in the crowd, Ronnie.
I was making some noise.
Having a good time. That's pretty fun out there.
And he's faking the cannon. Wait, did he go high ground or low ground? Sorry, I was so busy on the intros and stuff. Nah, it's just low ground. We don't have a forge. He is faking it. He is really faking it, Waddy. Oh, if Solar would cancel this hatch now and immediately go elsewhere, Solar will hate life. But Solar is not quite buying it yet. And now Solar is loving life. Be like, lol, you thought I was going to fall for that, mate? So Classic actually wasting 50 minerals and not really getting anything out of it.
Yeah, it's Classic with a little grimace there. He's like, oh, you didn't fall for my bait, huh?
So both players are really trying to throw the other guy off, but no one is really biting, right? It's like in the previous game, Classic didn't take that bait of not building infinite amounts of batteries and cannons and being very worried. And this time Solar sees 2 pilots go up with his natural. He's like, good luck with it. If you want a cannon, go ahead, a cannon, my friend. Classic is like, come on, man. If it would have been real, you would have been in trouble.
Yeah, sheer belief from Solar holds his ground. And we get ourselves set up on this game 3. Probe nibbling, Overlord is scouting, Cybercore finishing as well. So we will start to see Classic choosing his tech options, which 9 times out of 10 in this day and age is the Stargate. There's obviously a lot of follow-ups you can do from the Stargate as well. I mean, Resonating Glaives is something you can go into after the Stargate as well, and that's something which Classic has shown us a fair amount. So that is a possibility we could keep our eyes open for down the line.
We saw this map earlier in the tournament between Zaun and Raynor, and Zaun went for that cannon rush in the first game of that best of 5. Did manage to get the cannons up, but then in the end still didn't win the game, so maybe Solar just thought back of that game, be like, well, Raynor got cannons, he still won, so I guess if you want to go ahead and cannon, go ahead and cannon, and I'll just play it out in a different way, expand elsewhere, and we'll worry about those pylons and batteries once we get there, but there was nothing to worry about, or cannons. First Adept of Classic has made it to the other side of the map. It is going to be fun to keep an eye on the Adept movement and keep an eye on the Oracle movement. So Solar's going to have to clean it up a little bit. He didn't lose that previous game because he lost 5 drones against the first Oracle flyby, but it doesn't help. And throughout this best of 7, we are really going to have to limit that damage. 1 drone, 2 drones, completely acceptable, especially if you get a bit of hull damage on the Oracles, not just the shields, but anything more than 3 stings already, and 4 or 5. With the first flyby, that's way too many, Waddy.
No, absolutely. And you said it before, it's like, every now and then it doesn't matter, you win the game anyway, right? But like, if you're just having that happen every game in a best of 7, the odds just stack up against you. So, yeah, definitely try and tidy it up. Let's definitely try and be a little bit cleaner overall. That Twilight Council comes in nice and quickly here. As our first Oracle's popping and walking across the map. And if we only have that one Oracle, that Twilight Council is going to get put to use real soon.
Second Oracle is on the production up now, as Classic is also sending out a worker. So he does wipe in a third Nexus at 3 minutes and 55 seconds, which is quite fine. I don't see a Queen here. Queen is making its way over. There is a Spore Crawler, of course, but that Oracle could still find a few workers. It's just one. That's a bit annoying for Solar, but it's completely fine. Resonating Glaive Adept already on the production tab, but that Overlord is just chilling in the main base.
It is right there. Can definitely get some info, and yeah, that Glaives is going to be coming straight on through, so that Overlord from Solar just has the chance to come by and see what's up. Already saw the Twilight and so has a rough idea of when everything went down. Maybe able to piece this together a little.
Yeah, we have not seen a Baneling Nest or a Roach Warren yet. I always kind of like the Baneling Nest, but I know it's incredibly risky, especially if Classic makes a few more adepts than you expect as Ling Bane player. And if you take one bad fight with the Lings, you're just left with Banelings. It's so easy to spread against it, so it makes a lot more sense for Solar to drop the Roach Warren. It's just a lot more reliable, and you should never die.
Yeah, I mean, Roaches really do kind of usually give you good defense against these adepts. It's still about positioning, it's still about splitting them properly, right? Making sure that you do not get overwhelmed in one position or you know, out-positioned by the speed of those adept shades or the trickery of the cancel.
Hey, did you see all of them there? Because we saw those 2 adepts, but I wonder if he saw the other 2 as well. As we warp in 3 additional adepts. This is quite early. It seems that the Oracle also protected this one adept that was in the center of the map. I was about to point out that that was a nice catch for Solar, because reducing the adept numbers with just a few links is amazing. The man needs to stop building drones, and he needs to start building a lot of roaches and links. And this could turn very well into one of these classic Solar games, where he's going to make a lot of roaches and links early on. He's going to lose a bunch of drones, but he won't be replacing those drones, Wardy. He will just go full speed, pedal to the metal, nothing like metal units from here on out. Let's see how clean this defense is.
Yeah, it definitely feels like he's got that aggressive follow, because that Overlord speed's coming in. That will give him the drop lords across the map, right? So definitely feeling good. He does get a couple of adepts killed here early. The drones pull and there's roaches in position. So yes, we're losing units, but we are shaving that adept count down neatly. Now there are going to be more adepts showing up on the left-hand side shortly. Let's see how well we can deal. A lot of these adepts are going to be dying, Roddy.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried for Classic, also because this is not going on for that much longer. I have the feeling that Solar is about to end this party once and for all. 5 extra gateways on the production tab, but we don't have Zealot Charge, we don't have Blink, we don't have a lot of cannons at home. I don't even know if we have a Forge yet. He is starting to produce Immortals, but the Queen count is high as well. That is a ridiculously important pylon, powering 4 gateways and the Robo. I think Classic is in a lot of trouble. Solar's army supply right now is already 63, and he is indeed never looking back. He has lost 12 drones. He has not replaced a single one of them. Nothing but battle units coming out of Solar, and I have a lot of belief in this Solar push, because very few people in the business execute these kinds of attacks better than Solar.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very sentry heavy, so we will have some force fields to work with, but the Ravagers are there, and this really is right now a sentry army with 1 Immortal attached to it, so it's not that much. The Link's trying to get in early, the Adepts get there. So it's giving up a few units already. The Oracle very narrowly goes down. And that is going to give maybe Solar a little bit more opportunity as finally the roaches are here and it's time for him to hit into this main force. Let's see if he can get it done.
That pylon is so ridiculously juicy. If I was Solar, we'll go for it. I don't know how many ravages we have, but it'd be an absolutely amazing pylon to take out. So far, it hasn't gone too bad yet for Classic, as he does end up losing the Oracle there, Water, and that does sting a little bit. But I do love all the additional depths that he has warped in. The Lings of Solar are getting incredibly little done, and this Protoss army is actually holding its ground. Man, this is amazing. The Roaches and the Ravagers are having a very tough time getting in range of the battle. Feels like Solar just lost 40 or 50 Lings without killing anything.
Yeah, and the Lings really are the problem. Like, the Roach Ravager doesn't really die to the Adepts, but that was very well done by Classic, who is going to chase this army down a little bit now. Force field's coming down. Solar just didn't really have the oomph with this push we were expecting it to really go with. Maybe he lost just a few too many drones at the end, didn't quite have the reinforcements. The Lings were trying to force some force fields, and Classic didn't bite there either, so...
Was Roach Speed the big problem? Like, I feel like if we would have started that a bit earlier, and I know he lost some drones to the Adepts, but I feel like if we want to go for this specific attack, we should have probably had Roach Speed done at that point. And I guess Roaches without speed just suck off creep against Sentries and Immortals. They'll have a very difficult time getting in range of the fight. This is a lovely little Ling drop, though, coming out of Falcon Solar, and Classic decides to just battle with probes, which I'd say is ill-advised. That's the tiniest recall ever as well. I almost think maybe we could have wiped in a unit if we didn't have to use recall there. 5 probes against a couple Lings. Solar will take that. But the previous fight, I'm shocked by how bad that went. Perhaps without without Roach Speed, it's just impossible to go for a committed attack like that, because the Lings are so much quicker than the rest of your army that they will always run away from the support forces of Solar, and they just kind of die before the rest can get in range.
In Solar right now, 66 drones is back to just building units though, right? So he's going to get another drop load set up, and he's just going to go for a round 2, it would seem, because there is no future in this game for him. There's no attack upgrades on the way, right? Evo Chambers aren't active, just the Roach Speed finished, and we're just going to go with a larger army. But Classic's only like 15, 20 army supply behind. That really isn't much when it's a Roach-focused army from the Zerg. Adepts are showing up here, and that's a distraction that Solar has to contend with, and that's only going to weaken the push and the timing across the map that he's potentially looking for.
You're absolutely right, but I do think if we have mass Roach Ravager and we're no longer relying on Zerglings, a lot of these Adepts will start falling off seriously, and even all those Sentries are not going to be that great anymore, because Solar should have Corrosive Balls for days. We don't really have any Archons yet. The Blink Stalkers are starting to make their first appearance on the battlefield. It's a decent amount of them. There is still a will, I think, where Solar can get something done, but it all comes down to the concave and the positioning, and ideally a bit of creep for Solar to work with as well.
Yeah, he's done a great job trying to push this creep up the map as best as possible. A few Lings there going to be a distraction. He's actually going to get the chance to get up to this high ground
that's
here.
bad for Classic, I think. Yeah. That's really bad. That army should not be in this spot already, because Classic's army is very strong defensively, but it's not the kind of army that runs into a Zerg army.
No, it's not. The force fields are very good though, and those Roaches struggling to get away. Corrosive Bars not quite coming in time to help there. So a lot of Roaches going down. Those Immortals are having a field day against those Roaches that keep getting stuck in the front. Don't get me wrong, the Battles are putting in the work, but is it enough? Classic so far looks pretty good defensively.
Yeah, there's still 4 Immortals, or 5 even, that are doing that thing. I think only a single Immortal. Those Corrosive Balls connected in a very juicy way, but Classic seems very confident in the power of this Protoss army, as the Stalkers are out there in high numbers. They blink to the low ground, which makes it very hard for the Sentries and the Immortals to keep up. Corrosive Balls will continue to connect. Classic is playing this with an insane amount of confidence. Needs to be a tiny bit cautious, because if Solar would now show up with a large number of Zerglings, this army will suddenly struggle with Zerglings.
Yeah, it absolutely would, and Solar actually has still a lot of army supply in return. Like, Classic lost a lot there because he was running down and chasing it so aggressively. So, yes, it felt like Solar was on full retreat mode, and maybe that's not where Solar wants to be, but it wasn't all freely done by Classic, and maybe Solar will have one more attempt at shoving forward here. Obviously, as Storm comes up, it gets even more difficult for Solar to end this game. He still does not have a plan to play this a super long kind of term plan here. He lost a few drones in the past, so this is it for Solar. He's just got to go, 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 and this might be the last chance.
Yeah, Solar is very committed. There is no evolution chamber. There is no... Actually, there is one, and he's starting +1 missile attacks now, but...
Okay.
You know, that's not really an infestation. We're not rushing into Hive anytime soon. He is adding in the Bailingness now. It seems that Solar said, all right, either I get an all-out brawl, and we'll see if we can win this game, or at the bare minimum, we're going to knock the Protoss back to 3 bases. That is what he got done in the end. This is going to be difficult though, because if Classic's army continues to grow, more Stalkers, more Storms, and adds in a few Archons as well, I mean, Solo has pulled up some miraculous victories in the past. I remember a game against Hero here in Riyadh on Babylon, where I looked at Solo's army and I was like, I don't think you're going to do very well. And he just took an amazing fight with all the speed veins, connected with a lot of the High Templars, immediately remaxed, showed up again as a maxed out Zerg, and actually won a game that didn't really look all that hot. And that was an important game 5 to determine who was going to make it into the playoffs back then. A lot of Zergs would be incredibly worried. Perhaps Solo will look at this and be like, this is my comfort zone, you know? Going up against a bunch of High Templars, 3 base Protoss, lots of creep. I have all the basic units, no hive tech. It's going to be difficult. It comes down to the Banelings, if you ask me, Waddy. If Speed Veins can connect with the High Templars, Solar is allowed to dream. Without that, I think there is no chance.
Yeah, Solo's looking for that fight that's going to make the highlight reel later, right? You know, like that's what
Could be a highlight of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. If he wins a fight with this kind of set of units, that's what we're looking for. He's going to try and come in from 2 sides of Classic. Still have some force fields left. He doesn't have tons of Sentry energy remaining, I don't think. But he has got Storm energy. Getting his 4th base down would be lovely, but again, we just don't have enough wings to realistically do that. And Classic has Nyan maxed out. And once he's maxed out, I mean, Solo is still just Roach Ravager and I guess however many Banelings we get going, which right now is only 3 on the way.
I feel Solo's best chance is to legit go for like 40 Banelings.
Yes.
Because he doesn't need a trade. He needs an incredibly convincing win and then never look back. Keep on sending it. Right now he has nowhere near 40 Banelings. He does try to gun down a few of these High Templars, but he doesn't even get close. There are 15 extra Banelings on the way, but they were not ready for this fight. And that highly anticipated fight that we were dreaming of, that perhaps Solo was dreaming of, will never take place as Classic wipes the floor with some Roaches and Ravages and it turns the tide of the series, takes the lead for the first time 2-1.
Yeah, that just was not the moment to fire. I was surprised he went for it. Like, he was like, oh, I've got this, I'm going to jump. And I think I'm with you, right? He needed the Banelings at the very least. Those Banelings give you hope because maybe some slip through. They get juicy connections. The splash is good. I mean, they just started morphing and he jumps on forward. I don't know what he saw here that he likes so much, just the fact that he has a bit of creep to propel forward with.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of creep, and I think the High Templars in the left side of the battle, they looked a tiny bit exposed, but Classic is really good in doing that as bait as well. We saw that a few times in the PvTs where he's like, hey, here are the High Templars, you should really steam Marines and Marauders forward, and then they just kind of disappear in the big old Protoss army, and then Stalkers and sometimes Colossus, in this case Immortals, just gun down everything that gets close. So it's a 2-1 lead for Classic. We're gonna go ahead and take a tiny break, and after that we'll be back with Game 4 of these semifinals.
Level up your gaming experience with over 8 billion playlists, only on Spotify, the official audio streaming partner for the 2025 Esports World Cup.
Classic lead Solar 2-1 here in the semi-finals of StarCraft 2 at the Esports World Cup. He's 2 maps away from a grand final against Serral. Solar, though, has got those dangerous tendencies already and has got a chance to make this up in these coming maps.
It's been a very funny series in that regard, where I don't think in a single game Solo was truly able to just play his game and go for the kind of game that he had in mind and show us what he has planned. It's all been a little, okay, something crazy happened and now my hand is forced and I'll do X, Y, Z, and it worked out in the first game. Didn't quite work out in the third game. I guess he really just did not want to wait for roach speed, and he's like, you know what, if you make that many adepts at home, you're going to have 1 Immortal and a couple of basic gateway units, it won't get a lot done. But kudos to Classic Man for immediately warping in all those sentries, buying a lot of time, slowing that push down, and of course having a lot of adepts still at first at home as well, just making it so much easier for Classic to deal with the Zerglings, and the Zerglings were so much faster than those roaches without their upgrade, that what should have been a very difficult hold turned out to be a rather easy hold. And from there on out, Solar of course tried to make some stuff happen, but he was in so much trouble that he could not turn things around.
No, he could not. So we will get ourselves into this game number 4. And in the top right-hand side, we're going to be starting off with the Red Zerg looking for the comeback. It is Solar.
Trying to get it done the Solar way, as he said yesterday. In the bottom left side, we are looking at the main base of the last Protoss in the tournament, representing Virtus Pro. It is Classic.
Get to take a moment here on Ultra Love. This map with that super narrow ramp up into the natural will make aggression up there a little bit more difficult, but there's that kind of space on the low ground where you can sit between natural and third. Talking about maybe some Zerg pushes where you can kind of say, hey, I could shove up the natural, I could shove up the third base, you've got to have a defense on both sides. And Solar does kind of bring the aggression. That could be one of the ways he tries to utilize the map, kind of push and pull Classic around.
Yeah, I think at this point it's important for Solar to not really overthink it and just do what you do best. So think back of his quarterfinals against Nero. Quick Hydras, Links, Banes, non-stop aggression. Don't worry too much. Of course, make sure that the first 4 or 5 minutes are clean. Let's not bleed out too many drones. But from there on out, send it. Play whatever you want to play with a lot of heart and commitment. No second guessing. And I feel like he did try to do that in the third game. I love like the ambition to immediately counter. I feel like a lot of Protoss players have been on the wrong side of a game 3, like we just saw, where you make a few adepts and you shade them to the other side of the map. You're like, oh, I did decent, you know, I killed 10, 12 drones. It wasn't even crazy, right? It wasn't like we killed 20 drones or something. I don't think that Classic was mega thrilled about the amount of damage that he got done. And in hindsight, perhaps if Solar would have just rebuilt those workers that he lost, we would have actually been in a pretty good spot. Because it's not like Classic can make a follow-up attack with 1 Immortal, maybe with like 2 or 3 and a War Prism, but that would still take a little while, and I think Solar would have been absolutely capable dealing with an army like that defensively. But I totally understand the excitement that Solar had, where he's like, hey, you made a lot of basic units, they didn't really get all that much done. If I now just run everything to the other side of the map, maybe I can surround the first Immortal, and it's just game over. You have no answer at all for these Queens, Roaches, and Ravagers. Classic did a lot of things right. I do think Solar just messed up the execution a little bit. At first we saw Lynx take a fight that was absolutely not favorable. A little bit later the Lynx again went way ahead of the rest of the Zerg party. Just it was not clean enough in that regard, so we're gonna have to clean it up a little bit. This is a lot better. The second drone didn't really have to morph into a spawn, but so far so good on the side of Falcons and Solar.
So yeah, Oracle on the way, and it will try to find some more of that damage. We'll see if Solar can continue to defend well and minimize any losses throughout those early moments. You have a gate, then the Twilight Council following this up as well, and a few links down those rocks.
That's an early Twilight again, right? 3 minutes and 30 seconds, Twilight Council already done. This is a map where in the past, Classic quite often has gone for like an 8-gate Zealot opening. He's very fond of that. He's found a lot of success with it. I think worst comes to worst, you keep the Zerg on 3 bases. In really good scenarios, the Zerg just does not have enough roaches, or the Queens are not well protected in those mineral lines, and there's nothing to save them from the Zealots just getting the wraparound and immediately slicing them up. Could be Glaives again as well. Blink would surprise me a tiny bit. Like this early of a Twilight Council to then go Blink, I don't think it's truly needed, but let's see what Classic decides to do. Solar's going to try to figure it out, of course, himself. Ultra Love is A large map, if you start taking the corners and we're really splitting the map up in the late game, it can feel like it's pretty wide, not necessarily wide open, but there's a lot of wiggle room, there are a lot of different attack paths. Early on, when it's like the 3-base pushes, those do hit like a truck. And we can see from the first-person view of Solar, he's actually going for +1 melee here, Waddy.
Yeah, gonna open with that melee upgrade. Maybe feel like it's a good time. He just used the adepts, right? So maybe he doesn't do it again. Good time to kind of get away with that. Oracle, though, is gonna show up and he's gonna get some extra kills. Does drop a couple of spores. Queens get that defense made, but getting a little bit messy there from Solar in the end. Finally got some good damage on that Oracle, but took a little while, as it is going to be Glaives on the way from Classic's Twilight Council. Now, the Baneling Nest at least will help you with that, even if the melee is not necessarily what you want.
I'm thinking back of our other Korean Zerg, Dark, who would quite often just make a lot of links and a couple of banelings at first, and then you hold the adept push, and then you just counter. You just march the queens to the other side of the map, so you have an answer for those oracles, and you just keep on spamming out links and banes. I honestly almost feel that it would be better for Classic if he doesn't commit, if he doesn't throw away too many units. And he has spotted this building. Click on it, know it's a baneling nest, but let's just assume that it's going to be a roach warren. At this point, though, I'm still building drones, Waddy. These banes are a little bit late. This could get tricky.
It really could, because these lings are just going to be on their own with these queens right now. Gonna run in, but that's a good block. There's no surround at all for the Zerglings. The Adepts take an amazing start to this fight. They will stick around right here as well. They're going to be choked up in the mineral line, and they will get some drones as well. Oracle does go down, so again, at least that grab, as the Adepts will continue to threaten the Shade and work on this third.
I wouldn't let the Shade finish up, because there are some banelings, and you don't necessarily know where all the banelings are, but Classic didn't decide to Shade into the natural, which I think is a good play. He's going to go for the fourth. That is a lot of Adepts, so they have serious DPS on a hatchery. We can cancel that Shade again, and just like that, see if we can get a cancel on this hatch. That's going to be a close call. Good job by Solar, splitting up a single Zergling to activate this stasis trap. Obviously, without Baneling speed, it is hard for these Banelings to connect. Shade gets cancelled again. Classic is doing as well as more Adepts have shown up in the triangle. Classic is all over Solar at this point, and Solar needs to end this right here. We need to keep this hatch alive. I don't even know where we go from here. Now he's dropping a roach horn as well, which I'm a little bit surprised by. Oh man, this has been beautiful by Classic. Absolutely
really well done. He does just minimize some of the damage taken here as well. 10 drones have fallen. It's taken a very long time to clean up as well, which is always a factor. Blink is almost done, and Soul is just going to try and drone on out of this one. Classic also has a Templar Archives down, so Storm can begin as well. And I really think a lot of this just comes from the fact that he lost 7 drones to the Harassment, because then everything else is just that little bit delayed. That's the kind of damage you can't take when the follow-up is something like this from Classic.
We were watching Solar's first-person view at that moment when those first 2 Oracles showed up, and I gotta say, I don't even know how that Oracle showed up again, right behind the hatchery. Where the hell did it came from? Solar lost track of it for a split second. Classic was there again to activate Pulse of him, gun down a few more drones. Because of that, Solar wanted to replace those drones, and while replacing those drones, our Lings and Banelings just a little bit later. There's no Spore here, and that means a few more workers will fall. This is a tough one at this point for Solar, who is firing up 12 roaches at this point. +1 missile attacks on the way, roach speed halfway done. Perhaps the Solar's best chance in this game, Waddy. It's just slowly max out with a lot of bangs and hope for a dream fight. Similar to what was our last chance in that previous game. I don't really want to see him go earlier, though. I really don't believe in that.
Yeah, it's just rough because we already have Blink Stalkers out, right? So going any sooner just kind of gives the Stalkers a chance to be aggressive already. He is just building Roach Ravager, though, and I imagine it's as soon as that +1 missiles and Roach speed is finished up, I think that's just when he's going to send it. But there's already going to be storms to soften the Roaches up. The Stalkers should be able to trade well. Unless Classic starts getting mega greedy, I don't think what Soul is currently going for has much hope. He, again, needs something of a miraculous fight, or for Classic to come fighting into him, and he's just spamming units, right? And that could be the opening to take a good fight and then go launch himself across the map after.
Especially because we do still have that +1 melee, so the Lings are kind of cool. The Lings are also trying to backstab. They cannot get into the natural. They might be able to take a little fight there on top of those Stalkers. But Classic, his main army has returned. There are very few openings here, but Solar is still just building units. He is second robo on the way for Classic. Classic, his forces right now a little disoriented. They're all over the place. That means one of these Archons is going to get picked off immediately. Oracle's low on energy. That's a crazy blink. Will it work though?
Oh, we will see, because he just went straight on in there. He had some good storms, but the Stalkers taking a lot of damage as well. Now they're going to have to pull back a little bit. It does look like he's weathered the storm elsewhere, and with extra Stalkers showing up, that Roach Ravager force is looking a little bit lonely on the map. Do we have any reinforcements? Yeah, Feeling's just going to keep running away, and Classic is chasing hard after those Ravagers. He's got a Prism here as well. Don't think that that's going to come into play too much. He's also so close to finishing charge, and that should be a major part of playing defense.
Classic is just so aggressive in this series, man. He's making forward blinks. He's always in the face of Solar. He is not living up to all that praise of being the super strong defensive Protoss. He is willing to battle. He is just brawling, and he's fighting so much damage early on. He's kind of getting away with it. He's got some good storms, nice blinks, of course. I think the one was a little bit adventurous down the ramp, but it worked out. And the longer this goes, the better it is for Classic. Classic knows that Solar should have time, though, to max out the next time they're battling Wadi. We're not just looking at a couple Stalkers anymore. The Immortal count is rising, and I'm very certain that Classic has already rebuilt all those High Templars that he lost, and he should have a whole bunch of storms to work with.
Yeah, we got something Roach here going to jump up. We do have a couple storms coming down, trying to get rid of these High Templar. I mean, it was a good effort, but we didn't get a single one in the end. I mean, I don't hate the idea, though. It did seem like an opportunity. We're just in the same place, right? 6 drones, a bunch of Roach Ravager, and Oracle taunting the Queens almost. And this time we even got Zealots up in the main base causing trouble that Solar is going to have to send, honestly, a fair bit to come and deal with. As Classic really does just continue to take control. 2 Immortals producing at a time to really buffer this army up and just make it to the point where, realistically, is there a fight Solar can take anymore?
He needs the Dream Surround, he needs the Dream Engagement. This is a spot that a lot of Zerg players will absolutely hate, and a lot of the pros will say, you're just dead, but Solar is going to try, and I've seen him pull off some miraculous comebacks. He really is excellent in getting value out of these armies, even though that storm hurt Wadi. It landed for the full duration in the heart of this Roach Ravager army. He is going to try to get one of these Immortals. This is an expensive army to lose for Solar, so I really hope for him that he gets a lot in return. Does get a bunch of the Stalkers, now turns around, even guns down a High Templar. Obviously not everything he was looking for, but you can't say that he lost it all for nothing.
No, he did honestly get some pretty reasonable trades there, but I mean, this is now Classic just running across. He's got Zealot on the other side too, so it's not like Solar is taking no damage himself. He is so committed right now, and those Immortals are going to absolutely power their way through this. GG. Classic is going to be up 3-1, and he is a map away from the World Championship match.
And he's playing like a man on fire. Everything he touches turns into gold. These Oracle flybys are excellent. The Adepts, they keep on showing up where Solar doesn't want to see them. They keep on showing up a little bit before Solar really wants them to show up. And of course, the holds at home have been excellent. A couple of adventurous blinks in the mix as well, but Classic is making all the correct choices, and Solar is playing from almost impossible positions. You know, if you're down on the workers, that's all right. If you have like a 40-50 army supply lead, we're not getting there. We're looking at similar army supplies, and then it's just incredibly uncomfortable for the Zerg, unless you're working with strong, well-upgraded Hive-Tech units, but that's not the case. Solar is trying to live up to what he has done best, and that is be aggressive as a Lair-Tech Zerg with a lot of those basic Roaches, Lings, Ravagers, and a few Bailings. Not finding the openings that he's looking for, and he doesn't really have the numbers. Normally with those pushes, Solar should show up. We saw that yesterday in this quarterfinals. Heroes at like 38, 40 army supply, and that's where Solar shows up with 90 or 100, and he just has these crazy swarmy numbers. Classic is not letting it happen.
No, he's not. Classic is also just playing in ways which we're not super used to seeing Classic playing, right? He's not just playing for the fast storm and playing the big defensive style. He's like, hey, I'm going to keep it aggressive. I'm going to keep you on your toes. I'm going to take it away from you, maybe, you know, what you maybe have prepped for me, because you might know that some of your builds are really good if I'm being a little bit greedier. So I love that from Classic as well. Like I said, coming in, I felt like he might mix it up a bit from what we've been seeing from him in the build up to this event too. So fun stuff. Let's get into the top left-hand side as we have got the last life for this man in the top. Can he save his tournament here? This is Falcon Solar.
In the bottom right side, the man that all the gamers were talking about, he's just gonna sit back, get Blink Stalkers, get a couple Storms, make a lot of cannons and batteries. Well, in this semi-finals, he's showing us that he's capable of a whole lot more. It's Virtuous Pro Classic. Kind of making it very hard for Solar to be Solar, because Classic is just the one who's taking the initiative, and he's there, and he's finding some damage, and he's getting himself ahead, and from there on out it feels that with every trade, with every battle, it's always like, yeah, that was okay, but it just means that Classic is getting further ahead, because he's always developing his tech tree, and Solar's just kind of stuck working with these basic units that are not going to have that big power spike anytime soon.
Does make it a little bit awkward as we just have the probe showing up early this game, so just force that hatchery off to that right-hand side. And it's just going to be Classic mixing up even early in terms of when he scouts, when he brings that probe over. Nexus goes down, Cybercore to follow, and Pylon has a map. Really good, kind of give us anything from Classic, and I mean, again, from Solo, we're still just expecting him to kind of spam the units and go, go, go. Yeah. In what exact variation, that remains to be seen.
Just hope that he can actually get up to like 50 plus workers once without already being behind. And that has just been the story of these previous games. The first game was very weird because of the way that Solar wanted to open and Classic his response. And in the end, Solar just had a right answer for that weird little Tempest build. And then these few Stalkers that were going to try to end the game. But the other three games, they've been a bit more normal. They've been a bit more standard. But it's just Classic getting ahead, getting further ahead, becoming stronger and growing. And Solar's just like, well, this is kind of it. You know, we don't have hive tech. We are not seconds away from lurkers or adrenal glands on the links. Like, no, it's basic units and their strength is in numbers. The numbers are not really there. And yeah, that makes it incredibly hard for Solar to embrace the swarm. If we're looking at a 10, 20 army supply lead, that's often not going to cut it for the Zerg, especially if we're not playing hive tech.
Yeah, it's been rough for Solar, just not getting where he wants to be. His attacks just never really having that power behind them. Even the one game we really thought it was going to against those Adepts, it was just, nope, not a thing. There's the Adept here spots. Queen gonna help deflect it straight away as the Stargate finishes. And again, let's see how quickly that Twilight Council comes down, because the last couple of games it has been fast. So we'll see if he wants to repeat that a third time now, or if he really is gonna ready to kind of move into a more defensive style overall.
You do wonder, right, in the previous game on Ultra Love, like, I really don't hate the idea of opening up with +1 melee there and having a Baneling Nest, but then we need to make Banelings ASAP. The moment that Baneling Nest is done, we need, and not just two, we're going to need a few more. We're going to need to leave two behind in case they shade there, and then you can try to engage with Lynx, Queens, and 3 Banelings. But the Banes were just a bit too late, and that made the entire defense so much more difficult and so much more complicated. So this is it for Solar. Not quite Tournament Live on the line, as we'll see him again in a third place match. But of course, he's not too excited over that one. This man wants to play in his first ever Grand Finals of a Global Championship. It is so important for Solar to keep it clean, keep it tight in the first 5-6 minutes. Losing a drone or two, completely okay. We cannot be losing 7 drones against those first Oracles flying around. On this level, you'll just get punished later on.
So far it's been fine, but of course the Oracles are now teaming up, and that may be where the damage comes from. The Zerglings continue to scout, the Twilight Council drops in a little bit later than what we've seen in the previous couple of games, and gasses onto the natural as well, going to go to 4 gas nice and quick as the Adept warps in there. The Queen's going to push the Oracles back, so you wanted a clean opening. This is going to be it for Solar for now.
What I was really love from Solar now, if you take a look at the Overlord positioning, below the main, I wish that he just puts like a single Zergling there on patrol. That makes it so much easier to keep track of these Oracles, but Classic this time, maybe a tiny bit indecisive, feeling the pressure of this semi-finals. There was technically a little opening there to go for it, but he mismicroed a little bit, and this is what Solar needs. It may not be the most exciting thing ever, but for Solar, this is really exciting. Losing 0 drones and getting a bunch of shots up on these Oracles, exactly the start that the man from Falcons was looking for.
Yeah, it's going to be so much better than what he's had before. We'll see if he can continue through with it as he just gets a chance to draw, and he's going to hit that 50+, 60+ marker and then choose what he wants to do. Does he just want to spam out units? Does he want to bring the Queens across the map as well? Blink is on the way. A lot of extra gates from Classic as well, really prioritizing gates, then the Forge, getting that +1 just a little further down the line and ensuring that he has the units first, which is not a bad approach against someone like Solar, where you probably do need a good unit count ASAP.
Solar going up to 4 bases. Having that hatchery there is nice, by the way, because that will also give you a tiny bit of extra map vision. So if those Oracles would have been heading towards the main base, you know where they are, and you could potentially try to intercept them. Classic is already moving out. Blink is halfway done. We don't have a Roach Speed on the way yet. As far as I know, that's a lot of Roaches. I really hope Solar's not forgetting that upgrade. Getting a few units out here early is nice, but he needs to start making sure we can protect that hatchery water. It has been a clean game so far, but now Solar needs to make sure that he can get on top of that perhaps a few too many links to activate that stasis trap, but it's all good. The Stalker numbers are not that high yet. These Oracles are low on HP. I want to say that Solar should be fine.
Yeah, he's absolutely fine. I think he was even lurking with the other links, thinking, hey, can I get us around? Can I maybe punish those Stalkers? Not going to be the case. They checked across the map as well, but nothing there. They're going to run out, and that's going to give the Lings an access point, so in they go, and an opportunity here for Solar as Classic realizes the mistake that was made.
Yeah, the Adept was not on hold position, and I love that Solar saw it, right? That means that he's sharp, he's dialed in, he sees the Adept leave its spot, and actually forces a recall, I believe. Still finding a few workers. This is lovely for Solar. Solar getting momentum, and that also relieves him from any pressure Classic was thinking of applying. We do have Storm on the way, but Solar, his work account not incredibly high. It's only 60. I'd love to see a few Overlords. We have Overlords on the way. We are going to send it, and I hope for Solar that we're going to send it in typical Solar fashion, where he does show up with a 50, 60 army supply lead, because that's what he's going to need, Ward, if he wants to win this game.
Yes, he really is. I mean, it's going to be time to just go, go, go. He's already about the 40 army supply lead, so looking for a bit more. Rogue speed finishing, Overlord speed finishing. It's go time in the next few moments. Storm is going to be done though, Roddy, so we are going to have some Storm to soften things up on the way in. Does Classic have enough support for that? He'll also have +1.
Yep, now Classic definitely has the tools to potentially defend it, but it's still going to be a monstrous Zerg army. And then it comes down to where are the cannons, where are the batteries, and Classic will always hope to fight near those static defenses, get a lot of value out of them. At this point, it seems that Solar is going to come in from the right. Can we take a little look at the natural of Classic? Because that is actually pretty weak. There is a lot. I'd love to see a couple circlings go in there. Great blink by Classic. The initial storms are quite good, but Solar has a lot of units. He's looking to get through that Stalk and does get through it.
Yes, we got the Ling Road Ravager trying to come through. We do still protect the natural wall for the moment. The Stalkers keep on fighting the High Templar. A couple go down, but we are continuing to trade well with the Stalkers. Lings do drop by, so that's going to be something Classic has to deal with while defending at the front. But he has so many Stalkers, and with good blink control, he should not be losing too many of these. The Road Ravager will try and do what it can, but it's mostly Ravagers left, and they are going to be low HP, low armor units that go down very quickly. Classic only lost 3 probes defending against the Lings, and he is pushing Solar away.
There was a cannon in the main base mineral line as well, so that little link drop didn't get a whole lot done. The Oracles are still alive as well, despite the fact that Solar had a lot of screens. It looked promising for Solar, it looked good, but Solar tried a few too many things. Bust open the natural, fight the main army, and Classic in the end had an answer for all of it. The Storm's connecting with so many Zerglings. Classic may need to be a tiny bit careful on creep linking forward. That is a hold. That is an incredibly successful hold for Classic. And Solar will be kicking himself. Look at the HP, by the way, on that cannon. That's such a good cannon for Classic. If he does not have that cannon there is no way that he doesn't end up losing 6 or more workers against those Lings. And that will give Solar a little bit of extra power for the next push too. Maybe those Lings could have even unpowered a few of the gateways. It almost felt that that gap in the natural was bait, right? Solar was so close a few times to getting in there. And if 40 Zerglings stream into the natural on the main base, it becomes incredibly difficult for Classic to deal with all of that.
Did not happen. Classic got the defense, he got that hole plugged up, and now we do see pushing forward here. So we're going to go for another wave of this attack. FG blink over to the right-hand side, trying to protect this location. First storm goes dead center on the roaches. That's a good amount of splash done already. Might want to use the next storms if the Lings try and force their way onto that army. We have to cancel the base, but Stolar's, 59 drones still. Classic doesn't need to rush to base 4.
No, that's not something that Classic knows. If Classic would see what we see, he'd be mega relaxed. He'd be like, well, here we go, up 12 workers, I've got an upgrade. You don't even have a single upgrade on the production tab. No hive tech. These Oracles, that is a good scout, by the way, for Classic, where he's like, hey, you got this base a while ago. You've got no drones at all. Either that was the earliest drone pool in history, or I am flying in this game, in Game 5 of the semifinals. If Classic wins this, he will advance into the grand finals, and we'll see the rematch of the match we had earlier in this event, where Sarah, of course, is the one who's waiting in the grand finals. Solar is going to be able to max out. He's adding in a few more drones now. The biggest problem is it's 0-0. We have no banelings. There is a world where he gets it done, Wardy, but he's going to need Classic to slip up.
Yeah, at this point, Classic just has just such a good force, right? There's so many tools in this army as well. Using a Storm Heal to help clean it up, and he is out of position a little bit, so a dive on the left-hand side, an opening for Solar perhaps, as he tries to get in here to get some work done to fight his way back into this semi-final. Tournament life on the line, and it might come down to this right now. Classic blinks forward, he's looking to see what he can do. Zealots and Immortals just stuck in the back, not helping at all. So Classic doesn't take the prettiest fight of all time, but he's just got that much stuff Then he blinks on top of the roaches, and they are going to be in trouble. The High Temple on their own on the right side will run away from the Queens, but Solar realizing, I think, that this is not it, as he is going to be in so much trouble in this game. GG, congrats, Classic is going to the grand finals.
What a performance by Classic. What a hold here earlier against all those roaches and lynx and queens in the mix as well. But he blinked the stalkers in that choke point, making sure those doors were shut. Lynx did not get anything done in the main base, and in the end he gets it done. He even had finishing up as well. Kind of like that final move there by Solar, trying to attack where Classic was not. So maybe he can gun down that Nexus and at the same time get something done at the fourth. But yeah, Queens off Creek were not going to get it done. A heartbreaking loss for Solar, the man who's had such a beautiful career and was a best of 7 away from playing a CPZ Grand Final. With his track record, I'm sure Solar was ecstatic about that thought. But instead, it is this man. A lot of Protoss fans had their eyes on him coming into this tournament. And if we were going to see our first Protoss World Champion in over 10 years, they thought he's the guy to do it. Well, Wardy, he has lived up to all that hype as Classic is in the Grand Finals.
Yes, he is, and what a way to do it. Really looking good with the mixture of styles here, bringing a bit more aggression than we maybe expected, and able to advance to the top 2 here at the World Championship at the Esports World Cup. How very exciting.